Hey, it's Soul. This is the World of Warcraft, and I want to talk for a little bit about the Mythic Keystone Dungeon changes that have been announced on the 725 PTR. I talked about this during the stream already, and I wasn't really able to organize, all of those thoughts into a cohesive short video, but I wanted to go over kind of my thoughts on it right now. So the gist of it is that there are a couple of changes that are happening. One is that Mythic Keystones will no longer deplete. So if you happen to fail at completing a timer, the keystone is no longer going to be unusable, or what they call depleted. Instead, the keystone level will go down by 1, and then it's going to randomize into something else. If it's your keystone and you don't complete it at all, you just kind of rage quit, you're still going to have the same keystone, it's just going to go down by 1 level. The big change, and this is the one that's really drumming up all the drama, is that you're no longer able to, quote, 3-chest a Mythic Keystone Dungeon. Instead, beating the dungeon time at all will get you 3 items, but it's all just going to come from 1 chest, and these 3 items are going to be shared amongst your party. So if you crush the time, you'll still be able to level up the keystone by up to 3 levels, but you're not going to get 3 chests out of it. Blizzard's reasoning is that the current paradigm of Mythic Keystone Dungeons, it promotes a certain kind of mindset that they, and actually I don't agree with either. At the moment, the best way to maximize your possible gains of artifact power and Titanforged gear is to just farm a bunch of low-level Keystone Dungeons, hope that you get a really awesome drop out of one of the 3 chests that you get, and just, and the fact that you're doing them so much faster than you would be doing a regular dungeon that's more appropriate for your level, it's just more time efficient. So it does weird things. You have people in the pre-made group finder that are just trying to carry folks through low-level Keystone Dungeons, just blowing through content, and typically they only want folks that can do like high AoE DPS, high burst, things like that, so they can rush through it as quickly as possible. And it's sort of okay because people that happen to have an attractive keystone, but they might not have, a very good DPS output or, throughput or whatever, they're still going to be taken into those groups because they can get boosted, they can get carried, and it's going to be to the convenience of the people that are carrying them. The drawback to that, though, is that it gives the player a sense of having to grind and as well as gamble. These sorts of players are just trying to grind their artifact power, trying to churn out, that next rank. And on top of that, with the 3 chests and the additional chances of loot, which normally aren't at their typical level, they're just hoping for Titanforged stuff. For me, at least, that doesn't make for a very fun gameplay. I'd rather, and this is, just me speaking for myself, I'd rather challenge myself with something a little bit more difficult and be rewarded appropriately than to go the repetitive or grindy or, the path of least resistance. I think Beliar had said that. And I guess I just don't feel like it's cool to be trapped in that sort of mindset that this is the path that I have to take in order to get the most amount of gear as fast as I can. The other thing that I don't really like as a result of the current paradigm of Mythic Keystone Dungeons, the whole thing about 3 chesting, is that basically going for 3 chests is more like an expectation rather than a bonus reward for doing exceptionally well. It kind of sucks when you're trying to get a group together and maybe you want to help out one of your buddies, so you bring them in, but they're not doing super high throughput, and so some of your members will be like, oh well, shoot, we're bringing this lowbie guy, we're bringing this noob. Great, I guess we're not going to 3 chest it this time, and then it brings in this air of negativity, before you even start the run. Even during the run, if there's like a minor setback, like someone disconnects or lags out, or their cat's on fire or something like that, they just got to step away for a little bit. That cuts into the time, and that starts building this kind of unnecessary amount of pressure that, dude, we got to 3 chest this, or I'm going to be so pissed. And that's not something that I think Blizzard really intends. The other thing, and I've talked about this a number of times, and this is all Blizzard's fault, is Titan forging, period. At the moment, Titan forging can get you up to an item level of 925, and at least as far as we're concerned, once 725 comes out and the Tomb of Sargeras raid opens, that Titan forge maximum level is probably going to go up. Regarding competitive rating, as well as like progression and even casual rating, that's going to bring up the similar mindset that we have right now. It's like, okay, I did the raid, I did, the LFRs and all that stuff. Now all I have left is to just keep grinding Mythic Dungeons until I get the gear that I want. And again, the fastest way to do it at the moment is to just grind low-level stuff, go for a 3 chest, and hope for the best. Gambling. Personally, I think that if Blizzard just nerfed Titanforged to a certain level, like in my opinion, it was to nerf it to the heroic item level, that at least would discourage players from farming 3 chests just for the sake of maybe getting Titanforged things so they can do their progression stuff. Of course, I didn't say anything about just doing a higher level Keystone Dungeons, like from 11 to 15, that can reward stuff that's more appropriate to the Tomb of Sargeras item level, whatever that's going to be. I'm just talking about Titanforged here, and if that wasn't around, then I don't wouldn't think this conversation would really exist, would it? If anything, the conversation would shift to the 11 through 15 level of Keystone Dungeons, where you can possibly get, item level equivalent to what's the most current mythic type of content. At least that's a bit more rewarding of skill, as opposed to how things are right now, which is to churn up easy content in order to get more chances to gamble. I don't think that's very good at all. Anyway, enough about Titanforged and all that. Overall, I'm pretty positive about these upcoming changes so far, but of course this is all PTR and all that stuff is subject to change. But the intent that Blizzard has with these changes, I think, is a good thing overall. The way I see it, these changes discourage the grinding of easier and monotonous content, and it eliminates that whole feeling that some players have been saying. In my opinion, I think these changes will kind of whittle down the feeling of having to grind this easy content, and instead help challenge players to completing tougher content in order to get more rewards that are more appropriate for them. The expectations of 3 chesting and otherwise having to really crush the time, that's no longer going to be a thing, so there's a lot less pressure. But while I think this is going to be good for the game, of course, I'm sure there's a lot of folks that don't agree with me, so feel free to share your thoughts, let's hold a conversation, and kind of hash this out. That's all I got to share for today, so I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Soul. Stay breezy, guys.